Hey guys, I'm Natalie. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Just Nat. Thanks for stopping by again if you've been here before, and thanks for trying me out if this is your first time. As you can see, we're growing. Growing. Very small, but growing because of you. Anywho, today I'm going to be reviewing another episode of The Worst Roommate Ever. Today we're going to be doing the episode 2, Be Careful of the Quiet Ones. That one is a really good one. It's interesting and it's really good for us women to be focused on kicking butt. It's also kind of sad. But any hoodles, let's get right into it. So, this story is about Maribel Ramos. She's an independent, strong woman. She was in the Air Force, or she was a Marine, I believe, and she came back from being in Afghanistan. She served 2 tours. Thank you for your service, sister girl. Came back home. She ended up going to school, and she's with her mom. So she is in Orange County, California. That's where this whole story takes place. So she moves with her mom while she's getting everything together, going to school, all that jazz. Turns out her mom dies. It's really sad, but her mom dies. She's really close to her sister, however, and was just like, hey sis, can you come move with me so I don't have to be in the house by myself, please? Sis was like, no, I have a life with a child. So no. You can get a roommate though. So that's exactly what she did. She went on to Craigslist, which was a terrible idea, but she went on to Craigslist and found herself a roommate. She found Mr. Casey Joy. Mr. Casey Joy is an older Asian guy, elderly. He was super quiet. He seemed really, really nice. So brought him in, got moved in and everything. Her and her sister said that they noticed that he was really, really quiet and to himself, and he didn't really have family or friends like that. So they felt bad because they felt like he was really lonely. So Maribel, being the kind soul that she was, she invited him out to hang out with her friends and stuff like that, trying to include him in her life so he wouldn't be so lonely. He appreciated it, and he showed up, and he ended up folding into her whole world as another part of the family. They became friends more than just roommates, right? So, fast forward. Casey calls her sister Lucy and tells her, oh my gosh, Lucy, I'm in love with your sister. She gives me all the feels, and I'm trying to give her all the feels back. And Lucy was like, oh, so you're delusional because you're old. Yeah, Maribel's not going for that, sis or brother. She's not looking for an older guy that has nothing else in common with her as her love interest. So we appreciate Lucy for not leading him on and being a real one and telling him up front that it's a no. It's a no. She calls her sister right after and tells her, hey girl, you need to do something about this because that's not good that he's, having romantic feelings towards you and he's supposed to be your roommate. Like, that's not good at all. So Maribel goes home and she talks to him and she's like, oh, well, she told her sister later on, I talked to him and it's okay. We kind of talked it over and moved past it, blah, 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 blah. And we should be fine from here, right? So that was a little speed bump, but they were still going, full speed ahead with being roommates and everything of that nature. But that's also when things got really weird. So, Casey did not take being called old very well and unattractive. He didn't take that very well, but I mean, who would? Most people would just feel like, well, I'm cute. I'm still young and vibrant. I still got it popping. What you talking about? And that's how Casey felt too, So he found him a plastic surgeon. Pause. Let's just remind ourselves he has a roommate. He got himself a plastic surgeon so that he could It would never work on my face. My cheeks are just way too big. But anywho, so he gets a plastic surgeon. Quiet as it's kept. Shout out to Q, Quentin Latham, Funky Dineva. Shout out to Funky Dineva. One of the reasons why I'm obsessed with YouTube. Okay. But anywho, quiet as it's kept. That worked on him, okay? I actually liked how he looked after his little nip and tucking situation. I was like, ooh, I don't know where you got that budget plastic surgeon, but he did that. He did that. You look good. He shaved at least 15, 20 years off your face, for sure. He sure did. He sure did. So we appreciate the doctor for that. But he also started going out, trying to make himself seem more young and hip and happening, popping. So he started going out at night, late nights, coming back super late at night, all that kind of jazz. So, fast forward. He doesn't pay the bills. He doesn't pay the rent or the bills that he's responsible for. Maribel honestly took this as a, don't even worry about it. I got it. Just be out by the end of the month. That's kind of how she took it. So she had that conversation with Casey and was just like, yo, you haven't paid your rent or anything like that. So you got to go. You need to go. And he clearly did not take that well. They started getting into a huge argument back and forth, back and forth. And so she ends up basically ending the conversation with, you need to be going by the end of the month, right? Then she calls the police the next day. I'm actually kind of fuzzy on when exactly she called the police, whether it was the next day or that night after the argument. Either way, she called the police, and this was 2 weeks before she went missing. And she told them, hey, I asked my roommate to move out at the end of the month, and he does not seem happy about it. I'm really scared. I don't feel safe. If anything, shout out to sis, because she was like, if anything comes up that it happened to him, I'm sorry, it was self-defense. I was like, you better. Okay, come on, strong woman, not concerned for the man she living with for her own life. She's concerned for his life, because she said, baby, I'm not scared. He needs to be concerned. Okay? Anyway, so so after that phone call, they did send the police out there, and she basically recounts the whole thing, tells them, he needs to be going by the end of the month, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, all right, well, now we have it on file. We came out, we saw, we heard, we conquered. Cool. Moving on. So, turns out, like I said, 2 weeks went by, and nobody's heard from Maribel. So, her sister, Lucy, she texted Maribel on a Friday and was basically asking her, hey girl, happy Friday, how you doing, blah, 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 blah. No answer, no response. Saturday comes, still no word from Maribel. Sunday comes and she's a part of a softball league, and one of her friends, a part of the softball league, called Lucy and was saying, we haven't heard from Maribel. I don't want you to freak out, but she didn't show up to the game. And everybody knew that's not like her at all, so something's up. Obviously, Lucy, first thing she does, Casey, where's my sister? Nah, Casey, where's my sister? I want to know too. Because, she didn't come back home last night. And, I'm worried about her too. I want to know where she is too. So after this, everybody's like, we need to find Maribel. So they all head over. So they're like, hey, meet me at Maribel's house, right? Lucy and her friend from the softball team and her family. They're all like, hey, we need to go meet up and strategize what we're going to do to get get Maribel back. Y'all, I told y'all it got weird. It got weird. It's getting creepier, okay? So they are at the house The door is open. The police are there. Everybody's going in and out trying to figure out, strategize what could have happened to Mirabelle. Where is she? Do you know Casey was sitting in the car across the street watching all of that commotion go on for hours before he decided to get out of the car and walk up to the police and ask, "What's going on?" What innocent person will watch people walk in and out of their house? Okay? In and out of their house, clearly looking for someone and not saying anything. Clearly you did it. Like, if you wanted anybody not to know, that was the worst thing you could have done. It made it so perfectly clear that, yeah, you did it. So, they are, like I said, the police and everybody, they're looking. They take Casey in after he appears out of nowhere. They take him in, and Casey puts on an accent, y'all, and he's talking, because I told you he's an Asian guy, so he ran a little game, acting like he didn't speak the English at all. He didn't speak the English at all. And he has a super thick accent, and they can't, it's a language barrier. They're like, he's not understanding our questions. We're not understanding his answers. This is just getting nowhere. And he had scratches all up and down his arms and stuff like that. And they're like, "Okay, where'd you get the scratches?" He's like, "Oh, well, I had, I do fishing, and the fishing line got caught in some bushes, and there's thorns." Of course, they sent some people to go check it out. Sure enough, there are bushes in the exact location that he was talking about. So you can tell this guy is smart, and he has been thinking about how to cover his tracks. Back to this accent. He's from Tennessee. Y'all, he came to the States when he was like 3. He don't have no accent. He's childish for that. He is so childish for that. He ain't had no accent. But moving on. So, obviously, they had nothing to hold him on, so they had to let him go. So, he left, went about his way, but because they were like, something's not right about dude, they had a surveillance team to follow him. Because he is smart, but not the brightest color in the box, he was going back and forth to the public library to use the computer to search things. The things he was searching made it clear that something's up. Now, he wasn't searching, he was doing his searches in such a way to where it was like, it was still able for him to plead it out if somebody was to come up to him and be like, "Yo, why are you looking for that?" He could be like, "Well, I'm trying to find my friend Mirabelle. She's been missing." So that's what this is related to. All of his searches were really closely related to that. Like, how long does it take for a missing person to come back? Things like that. Like, what's the probability of missing persons being found? One that was a little sketch was how long does it take for a body to decay? But even the detective was like, well, maybe he was concerned that she was killed and they wanted to be able to ID her. So even with that, he had like some kind of backing to what he was doing. But this where he slipped up. So one day he put into the search engine a address. And with that specific address, he put it to satellite view. Then he zoomed in super close to a tree. After he looked at the tree, zoomed back out, closed all the tabs out. Before he could even close that last tab out, that surveillance team was, y'all need to go to these coordinates and start digging up around that tree. I guarantee you sis is right there. And sure enough, Mirabelle was found right there. Well, a body was found, and Lucy was just like, let me see her, let me see. If I just need to look at the body, I'll know. Just give me a remnant. Hey, praise, I want to do it. She said, I just need a remnant of her arm to know if she's the one, if she's my sister. And sure enough, unfortunately, it did turn out to be Mirabelle. She was found under that tree. Casey Joy was sentenced to 15 years in prison for killing Maribel Ramos. It's crazy. So I feel like, as crazy as that was, it was pretty to the point, straight to the point, and easy. But I feel like the point is, don't get your roommates off of Craigslist. I thought y'all knew that. Didn't we had a discussion about that as a people, right? That wasn't a good idea. Maybe I was the only one that heard it. Who knows? But now we all know. Now you know. Don't get your roommates off of Craigslist. Like and comment and subscribe to this channel if you want to see it grow as much as I do. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.